Hi everybody, quick reminder, don't forget to check out the on-screen end cards towards the end of the video, as well as the merch shelf and links down in the description below to explore my new Outcast comic book series. And I just have to say that I genuinely appreciate all of the support that's been shown for this new adventure. Now I hope you're having a great day, and let's dive into the Basilisk. Now, in the alternate reality of Earth 11326, featured in the 2011 Marvel Comics storyline Age of X, Scott Summers is not the noble field leader of the X-Men known as Cyclops. Instead, he goes by the codename Basilisk, a traumatized, ruthless, and heavily scarred survivor. This alternate reality depicts a world where mutants were systemically hunted, incarcerated, and executed by human coalition forces, radically altering the destinies of iconic heroes. In this reality, the Basilisk's powers are very similar to the mainstream Cyclops, although they are greatly enhanced. One notable difference is he has a continuous optic blast emission, emitting exceptionally powerful, recoil-free energy beams from his eyes. And because his eyelids were surgically removed, his optic energy projects constantly whenever his custom-made and terrifying-looking new Ruby-Quartz visor shutter opens. Now, his optic blasts on Earth 11326 possess near unlimited power, being capable of instantly disintegrating organic matter, concrete, and heavy armor. Here, Cyclops' signature innate understanding of trigonometry and spatial geometry still exists, allowing him to ricochet optic beams off surfaces with absolute precision. Likewise, here he's still highly trained in hand-to-hand combat, military tactics, and guerrilla warfare. However, this version possesses an extremely high pain threshold forged from severe physical mutilation and war. And last but not least, that grim-looking, custom-made visor that I mentioned has a specialized remote-operated and manual shutter, meaning that not only he himself, but others can operate his visor. Now, unlike his Earth 616 counterpart, in this reality, Scott's mutant powers manifested destructively at age 14 inside a crowded cinema in Anchorage, Alaska. Lacking control over the sudden kinetic surge, his uncontrolled energy output caused massive structural collapse, resulting in 7 fatalities, including both of his parents. His brother, Alex Summers, was later taken out resisting arrest, while his brother Gabriel was placed into an induced coma. Being traumatized and branded a high-level threat, Scott was captured by government forces and transferred to a specialized mutant death camp at Alcatraz Island. And it was here that Scott would fall under the control of the prison's governor, Harcourt Teasdale, better known to the inmates as Arcade. Recognizing that Ruby-Quartz inhibited Scott's energy output, Arcade devised a horrific punishment. He had Scott's eyelids surgically removed so that he could never close his eyes to suppress his power. Arcade then bolted a heavy, nightmare-inducing metal visor mask over Scott's face, fitted with adjustable Ruby-Quartz lenses controlled by remote switches held by prison guards. Renamed as the Basilisk, after the mythical serpent that kills with a single glance, Scott was forced to act as Arcade's resident executioner, vaporizing fellow mutant inmates on death row. This forced genocide shattered Scott's psychology, instilling deep trauma and overwhelming guilt. But one day, while he was being transferred by guards, Scott managed to activate the remote switch on the guard's belt, which unleashed his powerful optic force. He would then easily destroy his restraints and take out the guards, then killing Arcade in revenge. All of this chaos would also break open most of the cells and free the surviving mutants. Now, being driven by a need to redeem himself for the deaths that he perceived himself to have caused, Basilisk joined Magneto's mutant resistance and helped establish Fortress X, the final stronghold for mutant survival. At Fortress X, Basilisk became one of its primary generals and frontline defenders, repeatedly turning human coalition forces into ash. In this reality, we'd also see that Scott had married Joanna Cargill, aka Frenzy, with their relationship being built on mutual fierce loyalty and shared grief. Side by side with Wolverine and Magneto, Basilisk investigated internal security threats while leading defensive efforts along the fortress walls. However, we'd soon discover that this whole reality was just a ruse. Because when Legion's reality warping illusion would collapse, the Earth 616 was restored. But Scott would retain the memories of his time as Basilisk, which would leave a permanent emotional mark on his main universe persona. Now, For his powers and abilities and his influence on the Marvel Comics universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give the Basilisk version of Cyclops a rating of 6, which is an expert rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, hype, and subscribe to The New Sage.